Here we have a bunch of problems where we're raising expressions that have some negative exponents to powers, or we're raising expressions to powers of negative exponents. And they're in a couple of different forms here. What they have in common is that we're going to be using the power rule, which says when you raise a power to a power, you multiply the exponents. The extra trick here is that they want the answers using only positive exponents. So we may have to move some things from the top to the bottom or the bottom to the top of a fraction to deal with those negative exponents. But let's work on this first one here. We've got negative 3a to the negative 6th times b to the 5th, all raised to the 4th power. What I think I want to do is just take this chunk by chunk. The first chunk here would be this negative 3. Negative 3 to the 4th power. Well, it's a negative number to an even power, so that's going to be positive. And 3 to the 4th is 81. So that's that first chunk. Then we have a to the negative 6th to the 4th. Negative 6 times 4, multiplying the exponents, we get a to the negative 24th. And b to the 5th to the 4th is b to the 20th. So far, so good. The only problem is we have a negative exponent in our answer. So we need to take this and actually move it to the bottom of the fraction. So this is going to be a to the positive 24th when we do that, and this goes away up here. If that's confusing why I moved that, you can think about it like this. That first answer we came to is 81 times a to the negative 24th times b to the 20th. And a to the negative 24th is the same thing as 1 over a to the 24th. So we could write this as 81 times, and I could even write that as a fraction, 81 over 1 times 1 over a to the 24th times b to the 20th over 1. And then when you multiply all that, simplify that fraction, you end up with this thing right here. All right, let's try another one. Down here we have a fraction to start with, and we're raising everything to a negative power. When you have a fraction that you're raising to a power, you just raise the top to that power, and then you raise the bottom to that power. So we're going to go ahead and do that. The top is pretty easy. X to the 6th to the negative 4th. We just multiply the exponents. 6 times negative 4. We get x to the negative 24th. And on the bottom, we have two chunks, the 2 and the w to the 5th. So let's take the 2 to the negative 4th. Well, 2 to the 4th is 16. 2 to the negative 4th is 1 over 16. So this is going to be a little bit tricky. We've got fractions inside fractions. And then w to the 5th to the 4th is w to the negative 20th. All right. Now, everywhere here we have negative exponents. So we're going to do some switcheroos. We can basically shuffle these. We can move this one to the bottom and make its exponent positive. We can move this one to the top and make its exponent positive. And this, you could think of this, it's 2 to the negative 4th. You could do the same thing. Bring this up and make it 2 to the 4th. If I do all that, let me rewrite it. I'm going to get 2 to the 4th. I'm going to get w to the 20th. And that's going to be over x to the 24th. And 2 to the 4th is of course, 16. So that's 16 w to the 20th, x to the 24th. All right, let's try one more here. We've got 4a to the negative 4th, b to the 6th, all being taken to the negative 2 power. So let's start with the 4. 4 to the negative 2. Instead of writing that as 1 over 16, I'm just going to keep that as 4 to the negative 2, because we may do that same trick we just did on the previous one. And then a to the negative 4th to the negative 2nd. Negative 4 times negative 2 is a positive 8, so that's a to the 8th. And then b to the 6th to the negative 7th is b to the negative 12. Now, we can make this a fraction and bring our negative exponent pieces down. So that's 4 to the 2nd and b to the 12th. So those go way up here. And what we get is a to the 8th on the top of the fraction. And 4 to the 2nd is 16, b to the 12th. So that is a little bit of work with the power rule and negative exponents.